When Arjuna questioned the meaning of duty, Krishna didn't give him a rulebook. He gave him freedom. In today's episode, we dive into the Bhagavad Gita, where Dharma is no longer rigid, but revolutionary.
Okay, let's really unpack this moment. We're trying to transport ourselves, right, to this atmosphere that's just, well, incredibly thick with tension. The legendary battlefield of Kurukshetra, you've got these two massive armies just standing there face to face, poised for war.
Yeah, the air is electric. You can almost feel it, waiting for that signal, before everything just erupts.
It's like the ultimate standoff, that kind of breath-holding moment.
Exactly. And right there, the focus of it all is this figure who, well, should be leading the charge. The warrior Arjuna.
And he's not just any soldier, right? This is Arjuna, the famous archer, hero of so many victories, known for his courage.
Absolutely. But here, now, at this crucial point, he's just completely paralyzed.
Why? What happens?
Well, he looks out across that field, and it's not just an abstract enemy. He sees faces he actually knows. His revered teachers, uncles, cousins, even his own brothers lined up against him.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and the human cost, the sheer impossibility of fighting them, it just crushes him right then and there.
You can almost feel that weight. The sources say his bow, the famous Gandiva, it actually slips from his hand.
His resolve just shatters.
And in that moment, total despair. He turns to his charioteer, who's also his friend, and, well, much more than that, his divine guide, Krishna.
Right.
And he says something simple, but it's world-changing. I will not fight.
And that decision, born out of this intense grief and confusion right on the edge of battle, that's the spark. It ignites what many call the greatest discourse ever spoken, the Bhagavad Gita.
So our mission for this deep dive, using the sources you've brought, is to really get into the wisdom Krishna shares with Arjuna in that specific critical moment.
Yeah.
We're focusing on two huge ideas, right? Dharma and this path of action without attachment.
Exactly. And what the sources point out right away about Krishna's response is, well, it wasn't a telling off. He didn't scold Arjuna or just dismiss his pain, which was obviously very real.
Okay.
Instead, it's framed as an invitation, an awakening, they call it, a call to see everything from a totally different viewpoint.
An awakening. From that level of despair, how does he even start? What's the first step?
He goes straight to the heart of Arjuna's grief, which is all about the physical bodies, the people he's about to fight.
Right.
Krishna gently, but, firmly, shifts the focus. He brings in this idea of, well, how temporary bodies are compared to the soul, which is eternal. The source actually quotes him asking, "You speak of compassion, but for whom do you grieve? These bodies are temporary. The soul neither slays nor is slain."
Okay, so that's a massive shift right there. By saying the soul is eternal, it doesn't die, Krishna's immediately separating the fighting, which affects the body, from this deeper, unchanging reality.
Precisely. He's introducing the core principle.
Yeah.
You can do what needs to be done, the action, without being sort of tied up in the temporary results or the specific physical forms involved.
And this leads straight into understanding Dharma itself, doesn't it? It's clearly not just about following rules or what society expects.
Oh, far from it. Krishna defines Dharma here as selfless action. Action done without craving for result.
Yeah. Without craving the result.
Yeah. The value isn't in what you get from the action.
Yeah.
Pleasure, profit, people liking you. It's in the integrity of the act itself.
That's a huge distinction, and the sources really focus on this idea of swadharma, one's own righteous path. How's that different from just, doing your duty?
Swadharma, as it's presented here, is really fascinating. It's said to be born from your inherent nature, your unique place in the whole cosmic setup.
So it's not imposed.
Right. It's not something society just sticks on you or something you choose because you're scared or because you want something. It's the path that aligns with who you fundamentally are.
So if we apply that to Arjuna being a warrior, his swadharma is fundamentally about protecting what's right, fighting injustice.
Exactly. And the sources make a really powerful point. Arjuna wanting to back out of the war, even though it looks like compassion on the surface, was actually weakness disguised as virtue. Yeah. It was turning away from his core nature and responsibility because of his own personal pain. Krishna has that challenging line, "Better to die following one's dharma than to live in others."
That's intense.
It is. It's about the kind of sacredness of walking your path, even when it's incredibly hard.
Weakness disguised as virtue. That really hits home, doesn't it? Makes you look at your own reasons when you shy away from something difficult. And this connects straight to the practice Krishna teaches, Nishkama Karma, action without attachment.
Right. Nishkama Karma is the how. It's how you live your swadharma. It means acting because the action itself is right. It's necessary. It aligns with truth, not because you're hoping for a reward or trying to avoid something uncomfortable.
What strikes me as really revolutionary, like the sources say, is that Krishna seems to put this principle, this selfless Dharma, above everything else, above normal rules, social roles, even those deep personal loyalties like Arjuna felt for his family.
That is revolutionary, isn't it? It lifts the inner state, the purity of your intention, above just following external rules. And what that implies is that every situation, big or small, becomes a sort of test, a test of our alignment with Dharma.
A test? How do you mean?
Because, as the sources explain, what constitutes Dharma can be fluid. What is Dharma in one moment might be a Dharma in another.
So it can change.
It's not about moral relativism, though. It hinges entirely on the intent behind the action. Is it coming from a place of selfless duty? Or is it driven by selfishness, fear, or attachment?
Ah, I see. So it's less about a fixed list of rules and more about acting with the right awareness, the right consciousness for that specific situation.
Exactly. Think about different roles, like the sources mentioned. A king's dharma is to rule, a teacher's is to guide, a warrior's is to protect.
Right.
But the key is how they do it. They must perform these duties with awareness, detachment, and a sense of duty to the greater cosmic order. It's the attitude, the intent while doing the action that makes it Dharma.
That detachment piece seems crucial. Doing what's right, what's needed for balance, without getting tangled up in whether people praise you or blame you or how it makes you feel personally.
Definitely. And Krishna gives Arjuna the ultimate instruction for this whole approach. He says, "Surrender all actions unto me, perform your duty, and leave the results to me. Be not attached to success or failure."
Wow.
It's a call to act with total commitment, but complete release of the outcome, trusting in that larger order.
So if you're listening to this, you might be thinking, okay, epic battlefield, ancient wisdom. How does this actually connect to my life, sitting in traffic or dealing with work stress?
Well, what's amazing is how relevant this ancient wisdom feels today. It's incredibly practical. Think about your own, maybe smaller scale, Kurukshetra moments.
Like what?
Well, maybe it's that tough decision at work that affects people you know and like, or navigating complex family stuff where your duty feels like it clashes with what you personally want.
Or seeing something wrong, an injustice maybe, and deciding whether to act even if it's uncomfortable or makes you unpopular.
Exactly. It's in those moments of inner conflict, when you're torn between the different hats you wear, between what feels okay emotionally and what your deeper sense of responsibility is telling you.
Yeah, or loyalty to one person versus a duty to a bigger truth. This idea of Dharma and acting without attachment gives you a really powerful way to look at those choices.
It really reinforces that true Dharma isn't fixed. It isn't static. It's not about doing what's easy or what makes everyone around you happy.
Right. It's about figuring out and then acting on what upholds truth, what upholds justice and balance, both inside yourself, your own integrity, and in the world around you.
And Krishna's final instruction, the absolute core of the highest Dharma, is doing that action with awareness, with detachment, and with a sense of surrender to that bigger cosmic flow.
So you align your own actions with the eternal Dharma of existence itself.
That's the idea. Act fully, with clarity, with conviction, but let go of that anxious grip on how it all turns out.
That's a profound challenge,
Yeah.
but also maybe a powerful kind of freedom.
It certainly raises deep questions. And those questions actually lead us right into what we want to explore next time, which the sources hint at, this tension between situational ethics and absolute morality.
Yeah, that sounds complicated. Like, when should rules be bent? Are there times they absolutely must be followed no matter what?
Exactly. And what truly makes an action right? Is it the nature of the action itself, or is it the results, the consequences?
Those are big questions that definitely flow from trying to live with this fluid idea of Dharma and action without attachment.
They do.
But until that next deep dive, let's leave you, our listener, with that specific question that came up from the source material's reflection on this very topic.
Yeah, take a moment and really consider, what is your swadharma, your own unique righteous path?
And are you truly walking it? Or perhaps in some way, are you hiding from it?
Krishna showed that truth isn't always black and white. It's what sustains the cosmos, even when morality bends. But what does Mahabharata itself conclude about Dharma? Join us next time for the final episode. If this episode stirred something deep within you, hit subscribe and walk with us through the epic maze of Dharma.